Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Ogie. I am the pastor of Cutler Bay Worship Center right here in beautiful, beautiful Cutler Bay, Florida. And this is chapter 29 of the book of Proverbs. I'm reading from the New Living Translation, if you want to join with me. Starting in verse 1 tonight. Whoever stubbornly refuses to accept criticism will suddenly be destroyed beyond recovery. Now, I'm going to stop there for a second because, a lot of the book of Proverbs is talking about listening to wisdom, listening to wise counsel, and listening to instruction. And I've said this before, I like the word discipline because there's these two meanings of discipline, right? Like discipline by itself, if we choose to live a disciplined life, meaning we follow instruction, we follow what we're supposed to do, then things tend to go well for us. And then the other side of it is if we don't do those things, then we find ourselves being disciplined by our life, right? Like I either discipline my life so that I have the outcome I want, or I live the way I want, and those things end up disciplining me. So when I read something like this, whoever stubbornly refuses to accept criticism or wise counsel or correction, the ESV says, he who is often reproved yet stiffens his neck. So it's like somebody's trying to help us, somebody's trying to set us straight, but we're not taking that advice. It's going to suddenly end up in being destroyed beyond recovery. What it's saying is follow instruction. Instruction is good. And when you do, you have the outcome you want. But if you don't follow instruction, you don't follow correction, you're going to end up tripping up along the way. Verse 2, when the godly are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked are in power, they groan. The man who loves wisdom brings joy to his father, but if he hangs around with prostitutes, his wealth is wasted. A just king gives stability to his nation, but one who demands bribes destroys it. To flatter friends, this is an interesting one here, and we've seen this the last few days. The last few chapters have talked really a lot about relationships, friendships. Okay, so verse 5 of chapter 29, to flatter friends is to lay a trap for their feet. To flatter friends is to lay a trap for their feet. What is flattery? Flattery is really lying, isn't it? Flattery is saying what the person wants to hear, whether it's true or not. It's, building them up, but not building them up on the truth, or not building them up on a good platform. It's building them up on what they want to hear, or lies, or false pretense. And so to flatter your friends ends up laying a trap for the feet, meaning you are building them up on something that is not stable, and they're eventually going to fall. Verse 6, evil people are trapped by sin, but the righteous escape, shouting for joy. The godly care about the rights of the poor. The wicked don't care at all. Listen to that. The godly care about the rights of the poor. So if we want to be godly people, we need to care about the rights of the poor. Verse 8, mockers can get a whole town agitated, but the wise will calm anger. If a wise person takes a fool to court, there will be ranting and ridicule, but no satisfaction. I can't get no. The bloodthirsty hate blameless people, but the upright seek to help them. Fools vent their anger, but the wise quickly hold it back. If a ruler pays attention to liars, all his advisors will be wicked. The poor and the oppressor have this in common. I like this verse. The Lord gives sight to the eyes of both. God is not unaware of the troubles that people go through. God is not unaware of the oppression that people go through. The poor and the oppressor have this in common. And this is interesting too, right? The oppressor, not the oppressed, but the oppressor. The poor and the oppressor have this in common. The Lord gives sight to the eyes of both. And I've said this before. One of the things I love about reading the book of Proverbs with the context of the salvation of Jesus Christ is I'm so thankful for grace. I'm so thankful for mercy that even if I was an oppressor to the oppressed, there's grace for me. The Lord is the one that gave me my sight. The Lord is the one who creates all mankind. And so there can be redemption for me. If there can be redemption in my life for what I've done wrong, there can be redemption for anyone. All right? Where did I go? Verse 14. If a king judges the poor fairly, his throne will last forever. To discipline a child produces wisdom. Remember, discipline is to correct, to instruct, not necessarily to punish, okay? But a mother is disgraced by an undisciplined child. Again, there's that discipline, right? If we learn to live a disciplined life, we'll have the outcome we want. If we don't, our life is going to end up disciplining us. When the wicked are in authority, sin flourishes, but the godly will live to see their downfall. Discipline your children, and they will give you peace of mind and will make your heart glad. When people do not accept divine guidance, they run wild, but whoever obeys the law is joyful. Now, when he says that, whoever obeys the law, he's talking about the instruction of the Lord. He's talking about the law that God gave Israel. So when people do not accept the divine guidance, he's calling the law divine guidance. It's exactly what it is. It's the instruction from God on how to live our lives. And again, I've said this before. If you really read through the law in the Old Testament, what God was instituting, it was meant to be instruction to bring blessing. If you live this way, you will be blessed. If you don't live this way, this is what can happen. That's like saying to my daughter, listen, this is a stove and it's really super hot. Don't touch it. That's the instruction. If she goes and touches it, have I punished her for touching it with the burn? Absolutely not. She ended up falling into a consequence of not listening to the instruction. Now, the great part about that is that I'm a father and I love her. And so I will care for her in that. And God is the same way. He gives us instruction to live our lives, and sometimes we don't always follow it. And we find ourselves in some pretty rough situations. But he's a loving father. He's a caring father. And if we turn to him and ask for help, he will help us. So even in the midst of our own stubbornness, and in our own sometimes inability to follow good instruction and good wisdom and good counsel, God will still be there for us and lift us up and carry us to where we need to go when we turn to him. All right. So that's some good stuff in there. All right. Discipline your children. They will give you peace of mind and will make your heart glad. When people do not accept divine guidance, they run wild, but whoever obeys the law is joyful. All right. Words alone will not discipline a servant. The words may be understood, but they are not heeded. There is more hope for a fool than for someone who speaks without thinking. A servant pampered from childhood will become a rebel. An angry person starts fights. A hot-tempered person commits all kinds of sin. Pride ends in humiliation, while humility brings honor. If you assist a thief, you only hurt yourself. If you are sworn to tell the truth, but you dare not testify, or you are sworn to tell the truth, but dare not testify. Fearing people is a dangerous trap, but trusting the Lord means safety. Many seek the ruler's favor, but justice comes from the Lord. And the righteous despise the unjust, the wicked despise the godly. So that was the end, verse 27. But 26, many seek the ruler's favor, but justice comes from the Lord. When I read that today, I just thought, isn't that so true? We as humanity are always seeking justice from our political systems, from our justice system, from our leaders and rulers and authorities on this earth. But true justice, meaning making it right, comes from Lord our God. That's where true justice comes from. And, I think in a time like we're in, where so many are seeking justice, and we need justice, and we need godly leaders, and we need godly authority, and we need righteousness and justice and mercy. Absolutely. This encourages me to pray. This encourages me to say, God, give those who need justice, give those who have been wronged, give those who have been oppressed, give those who are going through it, are struggling, are fighting, are hurting. God, give them justice. Your justice, not what we would consider justice, but your justice, meaning he makes it right. He picks up the head of the brokenhearted. He lifts those who are weary. He carries those who are struggling and hurting and sore. That's our God. Our God is a strong tower. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and they are safe. So that's who God is. And we find our true justice in him. And I think that's just amazing. And so I think we need to keep that in mind as we are going through a season in this earth right now where so many are seeking justice, that yes, we need to advocate for justice on this earth 100%. But true justice comes from the Lord. And he's the only one that can truly change hearts. So I'm praying that God would bring true justice to those who need it. All right. Have a great day. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good day. And we'll see you tomorrow for the chapter 30 of